Greetings and welcome to online lecture 9. This will be the last lecture of unit number 2, thermal design of refrigeration system components. Up till now, we have discussed the types and design features of 4 basic component of refrigeration system, that is compressor, evaporator, condenser, and expansion devices. Uh, now, in this lecture, we will discuss the different types of cooling tower. Cooling tower is also an integral part of refrigeration system, especially when in the refrigeration system when shell and tube or water cooled condensers are used. To cool the water which is used in condenser, the cooling towers are must. Evaporative condensers, cooling tower is not required, but shell and tube or any type of water cooled condenser, cooling tower is must. So cooling tower is an integral part of water cooled condenser systems, water cooled refrigeration systems. So this lecture we will study the different types of cooling tower. This is a basic circuit of cooling tower uh, which is being used. So this is a cooling tower. The water from the condenser, when it absorbs heat from the refrigerant, uh, is made to flow through this cooling tower. It is generally sprinkled over the water distribution system in the cooling tower from the top. Then it is made to flow over these packaging units where the water comes in contact with the air, and also the time for the cooling is also provided because of these package units. And the air is moved in counter flow manner. So uh, as due to contact with the air, the air takes away the heat from the water. So during this taking away of heat, some water gets also evaporated, and the remaining water, it is filled in the sump. Or so this is a cold water is again recirculated through condenser with the help of condenser pump. So this is a basic generic diagram of cooling water circuit. So especially this condenser used in the system is water cooled condenser, not applicable for air cooled or evaporative condenser. This is not required. As far as the principle of operation is concerned, there are two fluids used for in the cooling tower: water, which is being cooled, and the air, which acts as a cooling medium in the cooling tower. So these are the temperature variation. So water flows from top to bottom. So where the continuously water temperature decreases, at the same time the air moves from bottom to top, where the air temperature continuously increases. So the fall in temperature of water in the cooling tower, that is called as a range of cooling tower, and the difference between the lowest temperature of water and the lowest temperature of air, that is called as an approach, or that is the entering temperature of the air, which is mainly at WBT part. So this particular difference is called as approach. Lower the approach and higher the range. These are the desirable characteristics of any type of cooling tower. So cooling tower having higher range and low approach is much more desirable. That indicates the effectiveness of the cooling tower as well. So suppose a psychrometric analysis, when the air is passing through the cooling tower, under which circumstances cooling tower performs better, or under which circumstances cooling tower, the makeup water required is less. That we will study in this case. Suppose we are considering the two entry point of the cooling tower. So this is entry wet bulb temperature, and in these two entry points, if you see the difference between point A and point D, they are on the same wet bulb temperature, but different dry bulb temperature. Obviously, the dry bulb temperature at D is greater than dry bulb temperature at A. And comparatively, uh, the air at A is more humid than air at D. Now, the total heat transfer taking place, B is the common point where the air gets saturated, and this is the exit point, that is the temperature at which air leaves the cooling tower. And there are two entry points we are considering. One sample that is at A, other sample that is at B. Now, if you compare these two conditions of the cooling tower, you will realize definitely at point A, this is a total heat transfer to the air. So air gains sensible heat as well as latent heat. So this is a total heat gained by the air, that is sensible heat plus latent heat. That is when condition is at A. When the air is at D, that is comparatively a dry air, and you can see this is a sensible cooling. In fact, it takes place because here the temperature is higher than the water temperature, so cooling takes place, and the more latent heat is transferred. So almost the total heat transfer remains constant because as the capacity of the condenser, in both cases they are common, only they are used in different climate. So obviously you can see uh, the water absorbed by air at point D is greater than the water absorbed by air at A by this amount. Suppose WB minus WD, that is the difference in specific humidity multiplied by mass flow rate of air, that gives you the mass of water vapor absorbed by the air. And in the second case, it is WB minus WA. So obviously, when the entry condition is at D, the cooling tower carries more amount of water vapor, and in that case, there is more amount of makeup water is required. So that is the reason why, if you see under which circumstances the cooling tower generally the makeup water required is more. You will realize under humid conditions where the temperature is moderate and the humidity is more. In that case, it absorbs less quantity of water. So even in that case, the effectiveness of both almost heat transfer capacity of both condenser cooling towers are same. So that's why the cooling towers are mainly situated in coastal areas. So in coastal areas, most of the HVAC systems they are provided with this water cooled condenser, and in that case, as the makeup water required is less, these are the preferred one. But the effectiveness wise, you will get more range as well as more approach in this second case, that is at D case, because the rate of evaporation is more obviously. So under dry climate, the advantage is there, you will get the cooling tower range increases, but at the cost of more water vapors, means more makeup water. On the other side, at the humid climate, the cooling tower requires less makeup water, but at the cost of low range. So we have to compromise that. So depending upon the conditions or depending upon the load, the cooling tower is preferred. So at the time of design, the entering conditions of the especially wet bulb especially the entry conditions is very much essential because it decides the area to be provided in the cooling tower as well as the makeup water to be required. So this is just a psychometric analysis of the two extreme conditions, atmospheric conditions. So one condition is humid and second condition is dry. Now, in order to increase the contact surface as well as time of exposure, a heat transfer medium or fill is installed below the water distribution system in the path of the air. So such kind of package is used in the cooling tower, and the main purpose is to provide more surface for cooling as well as provide more time for the heat transfer medium, that is heat transfer medium, that is air. So the closer the fill package, more time it's spent in this is the fill package, this particular portion, and the more range we can get. So the filling material is generally used below the water distribution system to get higher delta T in the cooling tower. And also it requires a less space also. So more contact happens. So the fill is installed just below the water distribution system. So there are two types of fill material. So one is the splash type fill packaging, uh, which maximize the contact area and time by forcing the water to cascade through successive elevations of splash bars. arranged in the staggered rows. So such kind of rows, the staggered rows are provided, and the water is splashed over this particular staggered splash bars, and their time of contact also increases, and the water main water flow is converted into small droplets of water. Then it comes in contact with the air. So obviously better cooling happens. The second one, that is a fill type uh, fill, film type fill. In this case, it is called it because it creates film. So film type fill achieves the same effect by causing the water to flow in a thin layer over a closely spaced sheets. So these are the closely spaced sheets, and causing a water flow to a water flow in a thin layer. And principally, the PVC pipes can be used here. Such kind of arrangement is provided. Or this film type or the filling material is closely spaced. So a thin layer is formed here, and it comes in directly contact with this material as well as the water, air. And when the water flows through these thin sheets, then its contact area increases as well as time for exposure also increases. So these two types of filler materials are generally provided in the cooling tower, that is just below the water distribution system. Uh, Cooling towers are mainly classified into two types, that is a direct contact or open cooling tower, and a closed circuit cooling tower. Uh, or it is also called as an indirect contact type cooling tower. In the direct contact or open cooling tower, uh, water exposes directly to the cooling atmosphere, thereby transferring the source heat load directly to the air. So in this case, the water directly comes in contact with the air for cooling. In the closed circuit, it involves indirect contact between the heated fluid and atmosphere. So another fluid comes in. So generally in indirect fluid, the heated fluid. So for example, heated fluid, that is the fluid which is being fluid, which is flowing through the condenser. So that fluid is not coming in contact with the atmosphere, or rather water. These are the two types of cooling towers, mainly direct contact type or indirect contact type, or we can say open type cooling tower or closed circuit type cooling tower. Now in direct contact cooling towers, there are again two categories: the non-mechanical draft cooling towers and the mechanical draft cooling towers. In the non-mechanical, again further divided into three types. In mechanical draft also we'll see some types. So these are some types of non-mechanical types. Non-mechanical means there is no external agency like blower or blowers are used. So these are generally suitable for very small system, because air velocities for vertical. So this is called a vertical spray tower. So water through a common header is sprinkled like shower to a water distribution system. Air also comes from the top. It comes in contact with the this particular water, sprinkled water, and accordingly the water gets cooled, and the water is collected in the sump, and again it goes to the condenser for absorbing heat. So such type of cooling towers, it is small cooling towers, spray cooling towers. They are generally used in for the small system. They can be fitted in inside the room, because if the wind is high, then such kind of cooling tower, there is a possibility of wastage of water, because due to wind effect, normally water can go outside the cooling tower. So more quantity of water is required, makeup water is required. But it is a slightly low cost cooling tower. So no blower is required. Only with the help of pump, the water is some sprinkles if we use, then the required delta T can be achieved. This can be fitted inside the room as well as outside the room. Suppose because the air velocities for vertical spray tower are relatively low, such towers are susceptible to adverse wind effects, and therefore are normally used to satisfy low cost requirements when operating temperatures are not critical to the system. So a small delta T can be achieved here. So another this is another a model of vertical spray tower. In this particular case, uh, the liquid sprays enclosed in the shell. So some process industries, such kind of spray towers are used. Then second one is the horizontal spray tower, where the water is sprinkled in horizontal direction, and the air also moves in horizontal direction. So it is a second type of non-mechanical draft towers. And some horizontal spray tower use high pressure spray to induce large air quantities and improve air water contact. The multi-speed or stage pumping systems are normally recommended to reduce energy use in period of reduced load and ambient conditions. This is inlet air stabilizers. So the cold water, so it is sprinkled and it is collected in the sump. Then it again sent to the condenser. So this is a horizontal spray tower. Only the orientation is horizontal in this case. And the third type is hyperbolic tower, or it is also called as atmospheric cooling tower. So generally, this type of towers are of generic interest, especially used in large installations like power plants, or very rarely used in HVAC industries or HVAC plant. The heat transfer mode may be a counter flow, cross flow, or parallel flow. All three flows are possible. Air is induced to the tower by a density difference, so air which is moves through the tower because of this hyperbola profile. And due to density difference, definitely the air moves from that is high density to low density. It moves upward direction. Uh, the air is induced to the tower by the air density differential that exists between the lighter uh, heat humidified chimney air and the outside atmospheric air. The filling material can be a splash type or film type. The primary justification of these high first cost products comes through a reduce in auxiliary power requirements. Generally, its capital cost is huge. So because a steel reinforced concrete is used, and some early days, some timber structures were also used. That is wooden structure. Uh, but there are certain limitations of the size. So that's why later on this timber structure was replaced by steel reinforced concrete structures. So this is a pictorial view of one of the huge cooling tower, uh, which is used in a large power plant. You can imagine the size of the cooling tower. But this is only the initial cost because it is a natural or atmospheric cooling, so no external agency is used, neither for water and nor for air. So it works on natural air. So these are the three types of non-mechanical or draft cooling tower, where no mechanical agency is used for cooling purpose. So mechanical draft cooling tower, especially the fans are used, fans or blowers are used. Maybe these fans or blowers are fitted at the outlet of the cooling tower or at the inlet of the cooling tower. These are some different configurations of mechanical draft cooling tower, depending upon the flow arrangement. So the first one, this is an induced draft cooling tower. Again, the basic component, water distribution system, fill material. So in the induced draft cooling tower, the fan is fitted at the outlet of the cooling tower, that is outlet of the air. The air is sucked from the sideways. It is made to flow over this fill material where the water is sprinkled. Water get cooled and it is sent to the condenser. So this is induced draft because air is induced in the cooling tower. That's why it's called as a induced draft counterflow arrangement is there. Induced draft counterflow cooling tower. Then forced draft counterflow arrangement. In that case, the air is taken from the, because in this case, the fan or blower, it is fitted at the inlet of the air. So the air is forced to the fill material. So obviously here, there is some problem of back pressure may arises. And this is generally fitted, not preferred configuration generally, because in this case, due to back pressure, the more uh, pumping power, more power for the blower is required. But the effectiveness is comparatively high. These are the elementary. Same structures, only the counter flow arrangement is there. The water flows down, air flows up, but forced drop because air is forced over the fill material. So heat transfer coefficient increases, and obviously the higher range can be obtained. Then the forced draft cross flow in this case. This is fan is fitted at the inlet, but the arrangement is cross because air moves in horizontal direction, water moves in vertical direction. So this is a cross flow arrangement. Then third one is induced draft cross flow single entry. So here again it is uh, fitted at the sideways, but the air is sucked because the suction side, the cooling tower portion is there, especially the elementaries and filler material. So in this case, the cross flow arrangement is there. Even the water flows in downward direction, air flows is horizontal. But in this, the fan is fitted at the outlet of the air passage. That's why it is induced draft cross flow, induced forced draft cross flow, induced draft cross flow, for induced draft counter flow, forced draft. So induced and forced draft cooling tower. They are again categories flow arrangement wise counter flow and cross flow. Here it is a single entry, and sometimes the double entry can take place. Induced draft cross flow, but double entry because air is taken from both sides. So especially for medium or large capacity cooling towers, such kind of cooling towers are used. So air is taken from both sides in the cross flow manner, and water flows through this elementary. So the cross flow arrangement, water flows down and air flows in the cross flow manner. So these are some configurations of mechanical draft cooling tower, which are depending upon the cooling tower. Generally, the counter flow arrangement is preferred. Induced counter flow arrangement is preferred as far as the low pumping power is concerned. In forced draft, effectiveness is higher, but at the cost of some higher power for the blower. These are the classification of direct contact. Now, this is indirect contact or closed circuit evaporative cooling tower. So its working principle is similar to our evaporative condenser because here the three fluids are used. So water or any process fluid, this is coming from the condenser. It is made to flow through this particular coil, uh, and this cold water or cold process fluid, it's sent to the condenser. The water is sprinkled over this particular coil, and at the same time, air is also moving in upward direction with the help of blower or something. So in this case, when air cools the water cools the hot process fluid or hot water, and the air cools the water. So simultaneously, water absorb the heat from the process fluid, and water dissipate that heat to the air as well. So at the same time, some water gets evaporated on the surface. So again, it is collected. The cold water is collected in the sun. So simultaneously, the water takes up heat from the condenser fluid or condenser cooling medium, and the water or air takes up heat from the water, sprinkled water. So this happens. So this, with the help of pump, it again recirculates. So this is a generic diagram of indirect contact type cooling tower. So there is a water distribution system as well as the piping systems. So this is combined flow coil and fill type. So this is one arrangement, that is combined flow coil is also there, and the fill material is also there. So in this particular arrangement, so this is a process fluid. So the process fluid that is process fluid in from the condenser. So it is made to flow through this particular pipeline. So only the cross-sectional area we are observing, and it is taken from the top. The water is sprinkled over this pipelines. So these are the pipes. Through the pipes, generally the process fluid flows. This is the cross-sectional view, and the water is sprinkled over this pipeline. So it takes up heat from this process fluid. So process fluid gets cooled and then again sent to the condenser. So this hot water is at the downside, is made to flow through the filler material, and through this filler material air is also flowing in the cross flow manner with the help of this blower, and the air takes up heat from this water gets cooled, and this cold water is again recirculated to absorb the heat from the process fluid. So the heat transfer is taking place at the two locations. At top location, the heat is absorbed by water from the process fluid, and at the bottom portion, the heat is absorbed by air from the water. So water gets cooled. So this is a fill material, and this is a coil. So that's why it is called as a combined coil and fill type evaporative cooling tower, because it based on the evaporative principle. This is a pictorial view of one combined fill type, combined fill and combined coil and fill type evaporative condenser. So obviously the blowers are fitted at the top. So this is induced draft. So in between it is a coil inlet outlet, and this is a fill material is at the bottom portion. So this is a pictorial view of cooling tower, closed circuit. Then this is another type of indirect contact type. This is a coil shade type. So again, this is the coil. You can see only one section of the coil. So if you see from the top view, you can see the branches of the coil. So on the coil, the water is sprinkled. Then the water is fall on this particular coils, which is made up of different branches of the pipes. When that water comes in contact with the coil surface, it absorbs heat from the process fluid. So hot fluid in, hot fluid out. So the process fluid gets cooled, the water gets heated, and then that hot water, that is hot cooling water, it is again sprinkled through this fill material. So when the hot water is made to flow through this fill material, simultaneously this is shade type structure. It made to flow through this fill material. It gets cooled, and so water gets cooled in the fill material, and the process fluid, it gets cooled in the coil. So this is a coil shade because its shape is like shade, like this is the shade. So this is coil shade material. This is a shade material which is made up of fill fillers, and these are the different blowers placed at the top. Induced draft. So air is taken from the side waves, and the water is sprinkled over this fill material. And the bottom, somewhere the coil surface is there. So simultaneously it happens. So this is about the. This is generally used for the large installations. So indirect contact type. So indirect contact type cooling towers are used where the water quantity available is not pure water quantity, or some contaminated or hard water is available. So to prevent the scaling, so we can easily, if you see the basic generic diagram, the exterior portion we can easily clean if the scaling is there. But if the same water, if it is flow, then in that case, if it is made to flow through the inside, especially in the condenser part, then in that case, the inner scaling it harms the condenser capacity due to falling factors. So obviously, this type of condensers are used when the quality of water is poor. That is indirect contact type. So process fluid, which may be a water that is a pure water or processed water or soft water, we can say, but the this water which is sprinkled over the cooling tower is not necessarily soft water. So this is a small topic. With this, we have completed the types of cooling tower, as well as we have completed the entire unit number 2, where we have discussed all the basic components of the refrigeration systems, their types, their applications, and there's some design aspects. So cooling tower, we have one experiment that is a performance of cooling tower. So there we will see exactly how the performance of cooling tower is estimated, theoretically as well as experimentally. So there is a one separate experiment. Maybe analysis part is not for the theory purpose. It is only for practical, that is lab work. We have one experiment, so we will cover that experiment. But at the end of this particular experiment, you should be able to uh, discuss the various types of cooling towers, their construction working. Generally, exam point of view, that is combined coil and field type cooling tower may be asked, the coil shed type cooling tower. These are the two important types. And some discuss, you go through the question back, different classification of direct contact type cooling tower, mechanical draft cooling tower. So small units can be asked. So some types of cooling tower can be asked for examination as well. So that's it for this particular unit as well as this particular topic. Thank you very much.